we gotta talk about Killer Cam because he has some interesting comments that I'm gonna play right about now.
Who will be some guys that I could serve? You know what I'm saying? Like who could I take up under my wing and in essence allow them to be the face, but also I just would want to help them in any type of way. Players that I would back up. Number one, I'll back up Deshaun Watson. It goes without saying, me and Deshaun Watson's relationship, he was on my 707 All-Star team. I've grown to admire the person, the athlete that he is, going through a lot of turmoil, but I believe that's behind him, and I know I can provide services for him on the field as well as off the field.
So Zay, you see the question at the bottom of the screen? By all means, kick us off.
The stuff is behind him. It's kind of crazy when he said there's his personality, characteristics, whatever he was trying to mention. The man got lawsuits. The man got sexual allegations going against him, sexual assault allegations going against him. To say that's behind him is ridiculous. That's crazy, to say the least. To keep it short and simple, I think Cam Newton, he realized his position of being a starting quarterback in the league is over. And he sees an opportunity to hopefully be a backup quarterback somewhere in the hopes that he could be back on the football field sooner rather than later. Deshaun Watson, if he's not back to his normal self of throwing the football, playing at the level that we've seen him play at prior to the allegations, Cam Newton possibly sees this opportunity where he could be the quarterback for that Cleveland Browns team, which is pretty talented. There's a lot of talent on that football team. I think for me, Cam Newton as a backup quarterback doesn't sound terrible. It's not a terrible decision. When he said help him on the field, that's what I'm confused about. Because Cam Newton, unfortunately, I liked him a lot. I thought highly of him at a point. He can't help his damn self on the football team. So how is he going to help Deshaun Watson? I don't see how he assists Deshaun Watson in anything. I think Cam Newton, for me, at one particular time when he has athletic abilities, when he's able to move at a pace that no other quarterback was able to move at during that time, fantastic quarterback. His IQ was on point. He was able to throw with pinpoint precision with a dart of an arm. Now I don't know what to anticipate him doing for any football team, because he has such a high ego, and it just seems like he got pushed down completely down below earth to the point where he just like, I'll settle for a backup QB job. I just want to be on a football team, and that's the kind of tonality I heard when speaking about what quarterbacks he'll back up for on his wish list. I don't think. First of all, I don't think it'll be great for him to even go to that Cleveland Browns team right now. That team is dysfunctional. It is not a team you want to be a part of. In regards to growing, helping people out, that Browns team is far from that. They don't help nobody out. That's not what that Cleveland Browns team is for. They just put a team together to hopefully just win games. They don't got no camaraderie. They don't got no camaraderie. They don't got no togetherness. There's no like leadership in that locker room. They just bring in anybody. I can't even tell you who the leader in the locker room is for the Cleveland Browns. I can't tell you. So I just don't see how Cam Newton changes all that.
I mean, look, I do have a team for Cam, and I'm going to release that team later on in my take, right? I got one team. I was going through the list of quarterbacks that he named, and I'm saying, let me put my thinker cap on. Lil Shadamas, I got one. I'll release it in a few. Now, to answer the question outright, what should we make of Cam's comments about Watson being the top of his list as a backup quarterback, as far as him being a backup quarterback too? I would say that what I make of it is that Deshaun Watson all of a sudden is the most underrated quarterback in the National Football League. And the reason why I bring that up, not only was it Cam Newton that made me realize that, a lot of people are talking about AFC quarterbacks, and I'm not hearing Deshaun Watson's name. I'm hearing Lamar Jackson, even with the uncertainty. I'm hearing Patrick Mahomes. I'm hearing Josh Allen. I'm hearing Ja Rule. I'm hearing that was a jokey joke. I'm hearing Joe Burrow, right? I'm hearing all these guys. Don't let 50 Cent get this show, bro. Don't let 50 Cent hit this show. It's ordered popping. I gotta look out for that diss track coming my way for propping him up like that. But all the quarterbacks in the AFC. Nobody's talking about Deshaun Watson. And I find it odd because, yes, we could have our questions and theories and, feelings about what happened with the sexual assault cases. And when Cam came out and said he could provide services for me on and off the football field, I was like, oh my God, what you talking about there, bruh? Okay, services? You want that guy giving you services or you could give him services? Nah, bruh, you better be careful what you're saying. Okay, next thing you know, you end up in the daggone, session. But anyway, 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 okay, Lil Shadamas on the mic. Okay, I had to throw that jokey joke, man. I'm a comedian at heart. But anyway, to get back to my point about, quarterbacks in the AFC, Deshaun Watson is underrated. Okay, and I think when he has a full year of the Browns off-season program, we are going to see that next year. They boosted up his receiving core with Elijah Moore, and I'm looking for what's in store. Now, as far as that team, right, I want to get there in about 30 seconds. I would like to add on to this point, though. I think this was a good strategic move to show the league that you are indeed willing to embrace being a backup quarterback in the league, despite your polarizing, fascinating personality. And I think that has always been the case with guys like Cam and Colin Kaepernick. Okay, maybe I do want to be that one team out of 32 that give a guy like Colin Kaepernick or Cam a chance, right? Even though we know there's collusion on the Colin Kaepernick situation, but maybe there was one team throughout the years after that whole ordeal happened that said, maybe I can give him a workout. Do I really think he's going to mess up my locker room from a, media perspective? Is it going to bring any negative, media to my team that's going to distract my team? And I think Colin and Cam is in that same bracket. And we saw Cam come back into the league and start for the Panthers, obviously. Then he got benched. And, he seemed like he was fine there. We didn't hear much about the Panthers like that. So I think by him coming out and saying I could be a backup quarterback to these quarterbacks, I think it should let NFL teams know that, okay, quarterback goes down. We are always going to have injuries. It's the National Football League, bro. I can give Cam a call. If the 49ers could give Big Shot Ben a call, okay, because they did call him last year. They did call Big Ben, who was retired, who looked shot. They can call Cam and give him a call to be a backup or an emergency quarterback. Now, to that team that I promise I'm going to release that probably should call Cam. Okay. We know this team has a very diluting quarterback situation right now. And it's the biggest topic in sports. And that's Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Who, by the way, Cam listed as his second quarterback that he would be willing to back up immediately, as 50 Cent is really calling me. Okay, I promise he was gonna call me once he heard that Ja Rule thing. He decided to call me. Salute to my guy 50. But back to my point. Don't want to get sidetracked here. When I saw him list the Lamar Jackson as his number 2 quarterback he would like to back up for, I said to myself, get you some Lamar Jackson insurance if you're the Ravens. Because there's no guarantee that Zay been bringing up and drilling in my head that Lamar Jackson will play week 1 or any week this year. Lamar Jackson may not play this year at all. When you hit him with the non-exclusive tag and when he signs it or don't signs it, he will not be playing nowhere else. And he might not be playing. So do you want to sign a guy like Cam who could be the backup to Tyler Huntley, who could be used as a gadget guy for the team, red zone packaging, where I will reflect back to that game against Cincinnati in the wild card, where the reason why they lost the game was because of a goal line situation where Tyler Huntley is trying to be a hero. What if that was Cam? They win that game, and they go on to the divisional round with a fighting spirit, with a fighting chance, with a fighting defense. Yeah, if I'm them, because we hearing it, man. I saw the press conference about the Costa and John Harbaugh potentially drafting a quarterback. Yeah, obviously that'd be plan number 1, but I'm not sure if they have the assets to do so or the positioning to do so. Get you some Cam insurance. Rock out with Tyler Huntley, because you might not be rocking with Lamar Jackson. And my last point before I pass the rock back to Zay. Speaking of Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, I have this theory in my head because we seen Cam obviously have a lot of praise for Deshaun Watson. You hear my take about him being underrated all of a sudden. And we hear Tyreek Hill saying, I was going to be a Cleveland Brown. They should have paid me. Guys want to play with Deshaun Watson. What guy do you know want to go to Cleveland and play? Odell did not want to go to Cleveland when Baker Mayfield was there. And he did say last year, I will go back to Cleveland now that Deshaun Watson is there. So what Cam's statement, to really answer the question even further, implies to me, along with these other statements, is that Deshaun Watson is decorated amongst his peers, and guys want to play with him. Okay, do Odell Beckham Jr. want to play with Lamar? They got a contract. They offered him a contract. Will he sign it? If that clarity is brought to the table and Lamar Jackson returns to the team and they work something out, I always thought Deshaun Watson, and not by much, 1A, 1B, I preferred Deshaun Watson over Lamar, strictly because I can trust him more from the pocket. And I think, and I have this question, kind of a take question, and I'm going to let you respond, is that's why I say, if I was Lamar Jackson, I know my take is running long here, but I didn't realize I had that much to say about this topic until I started speaking, right? When you talk about Lamar Jackson, if he held out, like how I told him to last year and how he was supposed to, maybe if he had an agent, they would have got that situated. He holds out. Do the Browns give Deshaun Watson that money, $250 million guaranteed, or do they give that same package, that same money to Lamar Jackson? When you talk about 23 civil allegations and all the risk and a potential suspension, would you have gambled? Do you think they would have gambled on Deshaun Watson? No. They would have gambled on Lamar Jackson. And that's why he should have took care of that business. But Zay, I'm going to pass that mic to you.
That's an interesting take. Baltimore Ravens, Cam Newton. You could also guarantee possibly that he plays over Tyler Huntley. I think Harbaugh has a affinity for veterans. I think he would put Newton. It will give him a hedge over Huntley, especially with the style of play. All three quarterbacks: Lamar, Cam, Tyler. It's very similar, not the same, similar. And it'll create a situation where you're not really missing out on the production on each end. Of course, Lamar is the elite supreme. He is the top of the cream of the crop. Then Cam Newton will be way below that. Then Huntley is below Newton. It'll be interesting to see Baltimore make that move. Especially if Lamar does get paid and stays in Baltimore. I think hopefully that's what's gonna be the case, that Baltimore winds up paying Lamar Jackson sooner than later. I just don't know where, if not him, where they'll get the assets to get traded. Who will trade for Lamar? It's gonna be interesting. I think Cam Newton, like I said, he hasn't shown me something since he's been back playing football. Once he left the Panthers the first time, it just hasn't been working out well for him. And it's unfortunate to say, because I really like to play his game, and I hope that he would be able to take any team for as far as he did with the Panthers, but it just never was the case, unfortunately. And I just don't know what level he has in the tank, especially for like any team, especially the Baltimore Ravens team that really is devoid of weapons. And he'll just be in a very similar situation to when he's on the Patriots. It's gonna be interesting what happens in these next coming weeks, because there's a possibility that Cam Newton does possibly get a team to buy in, say, hey, we want to bring you in as a backup. But it's gonna be difficult just for the fact that he's very vocal, and the man he talks a lot, and that's not a knock on him. I'm glad he's speaking his mind, but a lot of teams don't like that. A lot of teams don't like that he just casually just speaks upon business, speaks upon situations. And he's a heavy media conglomerate. A lot of teams want to shy away from media conglomerates, and he's a guy that is always in the media no matter what it is. He's always in the media for whatever reason, for some reason, and that sometimes teams are turned off by it. They'd rather not have a guy that's in the media 24/7, or being spoken to about, oh, so what's happening here? Are you playing? Or yes, yada yada. You know, players have egos too. They're pride driven. They play at a high level to hopefully compete and start. And you know, it's sometimes Cam Newton, especially in his career, a lot of times got the better of him. You know, he talks about, oh, how the heck there's not 31 quarterbacks better than me. There's not 32 quarterbacks better than me. How the hell I'm not in the league? Like stuff like that is what turns teams off. Like we need you to be a team guy. Like you're a vet now. We're not paying you to be the guy you was in the Super Bowl. We're not paying you the guy to be the MVP. We're paying you to be a locker room guy. Show the young guys how it gets done to be in work 24/7, day in, day out, and help win games. Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. We've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.